Let's try some more. Number 3. We have 4 times the quantity k plus 5, and then we're adding 11. Okay, so think about your order of operations. We're going to do multiplication first. Okay, so we're going to distribute here. So we get 4 times k plus 4 times 5. And then we have the plus 11 at the back, just kind of hanging out. So we have 4k plus 20 plus 11. We get 4k plus 31. And that is how you simplify that. Now look at part B. Part B looks pretty similar. I had a 4 and a k plus 5. We'll have a 4, a k plus 5 plus 11. What is the difference between A and B? Parentheses. So there is a set of parentheses right here that said 4 was multiplied by both the k and the 5. Here I do not have a set of parentheses. So when we do our order of operations, we're just going to do the addition first. We're going to combine the like terms, which are the constants. So 4k plus, well, 5 plus 11 is 16, and that's our answer there. So look at the difference. 4k plus 31, 4k plus 16. Different answers because we had a set of parentheses. It changed everything. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, we're going to simplify 5x times the quantity 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. We're also going to use that distributive property. So we're going to look at 5x, and now we're going to multiply it by the term in the front, then the term in the middle, and then the term in the back. So we're going to have 5x times 3x squared plus 5x times 2x plus 5x times a negative 1. And some of you may be comfortable with this and may not need to show this intermediate step. A lot of students will just say this is 15x cubed, because they would take the 5 and the 3 and multiply the numbers first. Then they would take x times x squared, and you get x cubed. And then they would say, okay, well then we have 5x times 2x is 10. Then you have an x times an x, you get x squared. And in the back, they would say 5x times the negative 1 is negative 5x. If you need to show the middle steps, show them. But this is your final answer. Let's do another one. So we have 5x times this expression here. Look at this one. This one is different. 5 plus x times the expression here. We're going to handle these very differently. This is 5 times x multiplication. This is 5 plus x addition. So here we're still going to do the distributive property. We're going to take the 5 and multiply by every single term in the back set of parentheses. We're going to do a piece at a time. We're going to do 5 times the first one, 3x squared. Okay? Then we're going to do 5 times the second one, 2x. And then we're going to do 5 times the last one, plus 5 times negative 1. Does that make sense? 5 times the front, 5 times the middle, 5 times the back. If there were more terms here, you would keep going. Okay, now we're going to switch, and we're going to do the same thing with this plus x. So this plus x right here, we're going to take and multiply by this term, and then this term, and then this term. And I'll do these in pink just so you can see a difference. Okay, so we're going to do plus x times 3x squared. And then we're going to take another product. We're going to do positive x times 2x. And then we do the last term. Positive x times a negative 1. And keep in mind, if you can do this quickly without showing all these intermediate steps, then you could do that. Go right ahead. So this is 15x squared because I multiply the numbers and then I write the variables. And then plus 5 times 2x. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. I tack on the x. And 5 times a negative 1 is a negative 5. Okay, and then we do the stuff in the pink. So notice there's a 1 right here plus 1x times 3x squared. So you really just have the coefficient as a 3. Then you have x times x squared. That's x cubed. Plus, look at the next set. X times 2x. Well, the coefficient of this x is a 1. 1 times 2 is a 2. Then you have x times x is x squared. And the last term is minus x. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Now we're going to combine like terms. So let's start out at the beginning. What's the highest power of x anywhere in here? Okay, there's a term with 3x cubed, and that is the only one. So I usually try to write this in terms of highest power of x and then go with descending order of powers. Okay, so then we look, are there any terms with x squareds? Yep, here's a 15x squared, here's a 2x squared. So 15 plus 2 is 17x squared. So we get that from here. Okay, now let's look at the next lowest power of x. This was x squared, so the next power is just x. So plus 10x and then minus x. Both of those are x to the first power. So we look at the coefficients and we're going to combine them. In this case, they subtract. 10 minus 1, remember there's a 1 right here, and understood 1. 10 minus 1 is 9. So we have plus 9x. Okay, so far so good. And now look, we have one piece left, and that is the constant, minus 5. So your answer, I'm going to write it without all the colors, is 3x cubed plus 17x squared plus 9x minus 5. And we're going to compare this to the previous example. They look very different, right? This was 15x cubed. I only have 3x cubed here. This was 10x squared. I have 17x squared. This even has less terms, right? This one doesn't even have a constant. Okay, so please be very careful. 5x and 5 plus x, when you're multiplying, are very different. Here we just multiply. This is strictly the distributive property. Here we're going to do the distributive property for the first term, the 5, and then we do it again for the back term. Let's do some more simplifying. We have 2 times 4 minus 3x squared plus 4x times x plus 2 plus 12. So we're going to distribute. We're going to take the 2 times the first term in the set of parentheses, and then the 2 times the back term in the set of parentheses. So we get 2 times 4. Remember, this is a positive in front of the 2, positive sign. So we also get plus 2 times the back term. In the back term, we're going to look at the whole thing, the sign as well, because this is the same as 2 times 4 plus a negative 3x squared, if you want to look at it like that. So 2 times 4, and then plus 2 times the negative. Okay, so negative 3x squared, like that. And then we're going to do the same thing to the second set of parentheses. Now this is like a previous example we did. 4x is already multiplied together, as one of my colleagues said, it's like super glue. So 4x times the term in the front, and plus 4x times the term in the back. So we're going to have plus 4x times x plus 4x times 2. Does that make sense? And then we tack on the plus 12 at the end. Then we're going to clean it up. Remember, if this is easy for you and you don't need to show this step, that's fine. If you can just look at this from the beginning and say 2 times 4 is 8, put an 8 right here, and then say 2 times negative 3x squared is negative 6x squared, then do it. And if you can look here, I'm going to go and erase this as you can see. You can take the 4x times x and immediately say that's positive 4x squared. And look at 4x times a positive 2 and say that's plus 8x. And then tack on the 12, that's fine too. If you look at the way we wrote it the first time, and then we simplify, 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times a negative 3 is a negative 6. Then you have an x squared. 4x times x, you have a 4. And you have x times x is x squared. Look at the numbers here. 4 times 2 is 8. And you have an x to the first power plus 12. Now we're going to combine like terms. Highest power of x in this example is squared. So I'm going to highlight all the terms that have an x squared. Okay, so we have negative 6 is the coefficient of the first one, and positive 4 is the coefficient of the second one. We're going to combine the coefficients. So we're going to have negative 6 plus 4, which we're actually subtracting and keeping the sign of the bigger one. So this is negative 2x squared. Now let's look at the x terms. In this case, there's only one of them, so I'm just going to rewrite this guy. Plus 8x. And then look at the constants. We have an 8 and a positive 12. So 8 plus 12 is 20. So if you write this again, we have a sum of 3 pieces. There are 3 terms. Negative 2x squared plus 8x plus 20.